Hey everyone, Hurricane Liz here, and we're just getting set up. So I'm going to give people a little bit of time to actually jump in. We're live in the OMG way. And as you guys should know by now, I'm starting to do this at least once a week. And today, for the first time ever, I have a special guest. So today, live with me, for those of you guys that don't know who I am, first of all, I go by the name of Hurricane Liz. A lot of people call me that because I do things fast and furious, especially Amazon. So I'm one of the world's foremost Amazon SEO experts. And today I am joined by my usual sidekick, Josh Dewitt, who's my co-host on most of the OMG webinars. And he's here live with me today. Josh, this is your first Facebook Live. Are you freaking fired up or what?
Yeah, I'm super excited. We have some really cool stuff to talk about today. So I can't wait to share it.
Absolutely. We've got amazing information to share with you guys today. And first of all, I wanted to start by thanking all of you guys that given the comments and suggestions and tell us what kind of content you want to actually hear. This is a entirely big bonus for all of you guys that are inside the OMG way. And that is because of the fact that really we cannot cover everything we need to cover within the 1.5 hour we get to spend with one another each and every week. So we created this special bonus just to get the best information about Amazon straight to you guys. And I got Josh here this week. We actually are testing a new format, so it might get a little crazy at times. We just had a Kimmy on who will be on it in a future webinar. And the stuff that she's going to share is just out of this world. So I can't wait to have her on. She's going to be one of the co-hosts as well. We're going to get here in a little bit we're going to get kind of fancy, and we've been working with some new software. So we're trying to make sure that you guys get the absolute best information straight over to you. I know people are super fired up about a bunch of things happening right now inside of OMG, but let's go ahead and get started and talk about what's happening inside of Amazon, because as most of us know, Amazon is in a constant state of change. Josh, what are your opinions? I mean, what are you hearing? I know you've got your ear to the wall most of the time. What are you hearing from people out there that are commenting in the groups? What are they telling you about the state of Amazon and how they feel about it?
Well, there seems to have been a whole lot of changes recently, not only in Amazon, but in Google as well, but we're going to stick to Amazon, obviously. But, you know, the first thing I heard was actually on our last webinar, people were mentioning keyword updates. And I hadn't heard anything at the time, but I asked around, asked some friends, and the next thing you know, I find out that people were having just huge updates with their listings, and they were seeing a drop in sales. And we had Heisenberg on yesterday who kind of revealed everything that was going on there. But there's also been a whole lot of changes with regards to suspension. So suspension has been a big thing lately that a lot of people are kind of scared about. So I'd say the two biggest changes I've seen have been just with Amazon's aggressive nature towards suspensions and restrictions, as well as the keywords.
Right, yeah, and I know a lot of stuff going on in Google. If you guys are not a member of Inside OMG, I know Cotton is having a webinar right now. So he's got an early webinar because he's heading out to the St. Louis Cardinals and Miami Marlins game. That's one of the perks you get. You can spend your evening. He's gone to 3 straight games, so he's out there. He's not even cheering on the Marlins. Can you guys believe that? He's actually cheering on the Cardinals. So I know most of you guys are going to see this recorded because you are probably over there right now. But that's fantastic, because if we completely fuck up on this and our recording comes out just crazy, we could just pull it down, because this is our first time ever that we're actually using this new software. So it's, I got to say, there's been a couple things that we've discovered this week while using it. First and foremost, I realized that somebody in my office has a twin that keeps popping up inside the page while the other guy doesn't. And I think that there's a possibility we could have potentially discovered some sort of time travel mechanism within all this stuff that we're doing. It just happened. I saw it with my very own eyes. So we'll see if we can replicate it. But for now, I'll tell you what we can replicate and what we can talk about, and that's getting people unsuspended. So let's just jump straight into most people's fear, which is suspension. It's a big thing that's come up recently. Amazon is really cracking down on shutting people's accounts. And as of late, I know Josh has sort of become my apprentice, literally like a second time. For those of you guys that did not see our original series, The Amazon Apprentice, he's done it again 2 times in a row. He's now become my suspension apprentice. And I literally called Josh the Amazon CSI, except I changed the CSI. It's more like the Amazon SSI, the suspension. I even forget what I called it. Suspension.
Seller suspension?
Seller suspension investigator. That's exactly what it is. So today, what we're here to talk about is that exact topic. And in fact, I've even prepared notes about it because recently there has been so many suspensions that I can't even keep track of the amount of emails that I get, not only asking for help, but from clients that have been suspended and or just people that are inside of OMG. So the couple big ones that I really wanted to talk about is first, the one that we can all do something about and prepare ourselves for. And that is something called two-step or two-click authentication. And what that simply means is creating an extra security measure for somebody to be able to access our account, meaning ourselves. So we can get onto our account with making sure it's safe and making sure it's ourselves. So two-click authentication, you can already implement into your account because guess what? I'm starting to hear a bunch of reports that people are being suspended for signing into their account in multiple locations. And that is especially true if you travel the globe. So if you're a globe trotter, don't get caught without two-step authentication. It's very simple. You can click up at the top of your Amazon actual listing and sign up for two-click authentication. The second one, which Josh has become quite the expert at, is safety issues. And Josh, you want to tell the story about, I literally hear, guys, in my hands, I have the blueprint, which I have Josh run through each and every time we have a suspension and he begins his thorough investigation. The only thing he's missing is his Sherlock hat and his Sherlock pipe, because I'm telling you, he's become one badass motherfucker at this. And he uses this template that I created, and it's literally, I want to say it's about 15 pages thick, and it's the regular monitoring process that we go through in our business on a day-to-day basis, but it's also the checklist that we use on our clients when they get suspended and or somebody hires us to write a plan of action. So Josh, do you want to talk about the blazing speed at which you got our client's account back the other day ago?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, I told you that one of our clients had a suspension, and you sent me over that blueprint pretty much, and I looked into it, and I went through step 1, step 2, step 3, and tried to find out what was wrong. And it literally came down to this huge safety issue, this huge suspension that happened, came down to a single a feedback, a seller central feedback, and the person just said unsatisfied with the product. How that blew up into a whole safety issue, I'm not sure. But it did all boil down to finding that one little problem. And it literally, let me write this down just so people live, take a guess at how long it took me. It took me a really long time. It took me all of 45 minutes. Maybe an hour, tops. 45 minutes to go through the checklist and find out exactly what was wrong with the account. And then within an hour of that, the account was live again. That easy.
Right. It absolutely incredible. And in this minute, we're going to talk about why that is, even though we're doing it within 45 minutes, we're going to talk about there's a way that you can do it within that same time frame. But right now, with the available options we have to get our accounts back, it's sometimes taking 5 to 7 days just to be able to get that proper plan of action written. So before we talk about that, let's talk about some other issues that are actually happening out there. Josh briefly mentioned the safety issue. This has happened a couple times on my account. It's happened on one other OMGer's account by the name of Tim. You guys might be familiar with Tim Schmidt. He once called me. His actual listing got suspended, and I was able to get it back the first time within minutes of me actually analyzing what had happened so far and then rewriting his plan of action. And the second time, he tried to do it on his own, and it literally, he was lost for a couple weeks. And then I looked at it, and within an hour, boom, he sent back a text telling me it was reinstated. And literally his words were, and I'm quoting here, guys, I'm not just making this up to brag or anything, but he said, "You're fucking amazing." That's exactly what he told me. He had lost thousands of dollars in revenue for being cut out from Amazon because of the fact that he had a safety issue. And safety issues can vary. They can be a lot of different things. In fact, a lot of times your competitor can cause a safety issue to pop up. But as a result of my detective work or my Sherlock work, I was able to find exactly what it was, and it was nothing simply more than going over this checklist and being able to construct it on my own. So the other thing that I'm seeing, and I've gotten reports from all the big sellers lately, is a lot of bannings caused by review manipulation. So if you've been among one of those people that have gotten hit because of review manipulation, then you need to take a cold, hard look at your business and ask yourself, what exactly is the root cause of this all happening? And how can I prevent this from happening? And how can I also just make sure that my account is safeguarded so it doesn't happen in the future over and over again? Because it can potentially happen for that. Another one is either having an item that's not as described or being considered as inauthentic. And if you really think about it, if somebody's complaining that your item is inauthentic, that's apparently probably 100% of the time almost a competitor. So those are a couple of the simple ones. Now the last one that I wanted to talk about here is, in general, this, once again, just how simple it is before I jump into how it could be a pain in the ass. So as Josh mentioned, 45 minutes is what it took him to investigate this. Josh, how long do you actually think it took you, though, to get good at the actual process? Because I know you've been working with a lot of our clients now, and you're the actual investigator. How long did it take you to get good at this?
You know, maybe tops a couple of days, just going through the process over and over again. The point is, with all of this, it's not only writing a POA and getting the account unsuspended, but it's also preventing suspension. So this works if you monitor, certain metrics in the back end that I didn't even know about daily, and you get good at monitoring those metrics, then you can prevent suspension in the first place.
Right, absolutely. And in a minute, I'm going to give you guys that are on here a couple tips to prevent that. But let's talk about why it sucks to be at the mercy of the people that are writing these POAs, and why it's time that you guys need to start getting good at this and taking a more thorough look. Now, the people that are going to be at our mastermind will get a copy of this, and they'll get a copy of everything step by step. In fact, recently, I've literally tried to twist Josh's arm and tried to get him to write something up. I come up with a video step-by-step course guiding people through this, because to be quite honest, I'm pretty lazy about it, and I filmed enough plan of action videos to give myself a headache. So Josh, it's become a case of where almost the student surpasses a master. So I've tried to pass the torch and twist his arm to do this. He's finally going to do it for the mastermind. So we'll see if he can actually, everybody's going to get that for free that is attending the mastermind. But we'll see if we can get him to come out with something in the near future. We will have one webinar in OMG, but literally this stuff can take months to actually teach, because it would probably consist of like 20 modules. However, once you saw it, you'll understand that the modules really lay out the entire foundation, yet it's just a couple steps. So let's talk about here why it sucks having to wait, and why it sucks having to depend on all those plan of action suspension people out there before we get into the steps that you can take to start monitoring on your own. So first and foremost, it's the price. Josh, what kind of prices have you seen when you're actually evaluating our competition in terms of how much people are charging to write out a what they call well-crafted plan of action?
So I've talked to several people about this, and I see them usually in the range of $2,000 to $5,000, I think, is a standard plan of action. And there's some cheaper services, of course, and we saw one of those recently, and it was one of the worst POs we'd ever seen. I think it was about $1,000, and it was an OMGer who ordered this service, and they thought they were reputable. They had good reviews, I guess, but it was just a horrible POA that did not get their account unsuspended. And I don't even think your average $5,000 one will get an account unsuspended.
Right, and I think my words, Tim, it was an OMGer by the name of Luis that sent that over to us. I think my words, Tim, were like, has this person ever sold anything on Amazon? Because what they put here is completely fucking retarded. And I hate to have to be cursing on here, but that was my exact wording to him. And that was because of the fact that they had come down to the conclusion that the reason he was suspended is he had used Amazon's trademark on a press release, which is, it just baffles the hell out of me why somebody would say that. In fact, Amazon encourages traffic being driven to their site. So for somebody to say it was caused by trademark, I don't know. But fact of the matter was he had decided to use the Amazon image on his Facebook ads, which is a trademark infringement. You shouldn't use Amazon's image on your Facebook ads. If you do and Facebook does not catch you, more than likely, guess who will? In this case, Amazon was. So I and Josh is actually the one that caught him that, because as I said before, he's the CSI investigator now, the Amazon SSI. So we're going to make a little Sherlock Holmes doggy or pipe or something. We're going to make a little mascot for Josh. But fact of the matter is Josh caught it, and I just told him what to rewrite. And guess what? Just like that, he had his account back. So again, we're not only at the mercy of these people writing these, we're also at the mercy of their cost and at the mercy of their actual time that it takes them to craft the things. So 3 things we're battling here in order to get a very good plan of action written for us. And that's what sucks about it. In terms of time, Josh, what have you seen people are taking for time-wise to write you one of these? I know you said $25,000 to $5,000, but how much time?
A week, a couple weeks maybe, sometimes a month. I mean, it takes way too long because, and my only conclusion of this is, judging by the quality of the POAs, they're just, sitting on their ass, not doing anything. They're not doing any of the research that needs to be done. They're not doing SSI research. They're sitting down, they kind of guess what the problem is and then charge you $5,000 for that, and it's just not worth it, because for one, it's wrong. And I don't know what they're doing, unless they're just getting thousands of requests. I don't know why it's taking them so long, because, like I said, it took me 45 minutes.
Right, absolutely. And the last thing that we're going to bring up here is just some tips for you guys to actually use it. In fact, we're going to make this one really short because I know Cotton is live. I actually didn't plan on him being this live, but now I do remember that he has a St. Louis Cardinals game to attend to. So the last thing that I wanted to come across here is to tell you guys what you should be checking out. Make sure that you're monitoring so that you're not potentially suspended. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that if you're shipping straight to Amazon from China, that there's not any way that your manufacturer could be completely just botching things up. So you want to at least ship to a middleman for a while until you make sure that that's all 100% in check. Because you don't want the product to arrive there, and then guess what? There's a huge screw up. So that's the first and foremost thing. The other thing is you want to make sure that you read what your people are saying that are actually reviewing your product. Pay attention to emails you get from your customers that give any indication that there could be a problem. And then lastly, make sure that, and the third one, make sure that you conduct safety testing. I mean, if you're selling an electrical product, make sure you have either UL certification and or ETL, because at some point Amazon could ask you for that information. And if you do not have it on hand, guess what? That means you're going to have a hell of a time getting your listing back until you do present that with them. So there's a lot of third-party testing services. There's Intertech, which we use for some of our products, and there's actually even UL, which is the granddaddy of them all. So if you can afford UL testing and or your manufacturer already has that and can provide it for you, that's huge. If you sell supplements or beauty, make sure you have an MSDS sheet so they know that it's not hazmat and that it's not unsafe. Other than that, just monitor your product and literally act like a product watchdog so that you know absolutely everything going on with that product and you're really in tune with your customers. And again, like I said, everybody at the Mastermind will be getting this. And if you're not attending the Mastermind, don't worry. We do have a OMG webinar coming soon that will cover a portion of this because, as I said before, it's quite thick and we need to still get into a lot of topics. If not, I will try to get and twist Josh's arm to come out with that video series. So let me know below here if you're actually interested in something like that, because again, just this report could literally save you thousands and thousands of dollars. It will save you the time that it takes to get unsuspended. I know we've gotten some suspensions appealed. The appeal has been taken within less than 30 minutes, less than 20 minutes even. So this can literally save lots of money. It can literally save some people from having to go under because of the fact that they're out of production for a whole week. So it's well worth its weight in gold. And if you'd like to find out more about that, then let me know in the comments below. But other than that, First of all, let me start by thanking Josh for being on here. Let's see if there's any questions. So Teresa, I think Teresa, you're going to actually be at the event. So we will see you there. I see a bunch of people here interested, but Teresa will be at the event, so you'll already get this copy, Teresa, since you are going to be there. I don't see many questions, and again, I think that's a lot has to do with the fact that Cotton's having a webinar. Hopefully he doesn't kick my butt. But if you guys have any comments or suggestions for the future one, Kimmy will be on here next week. Let us know what you want to hear from her. Post some comments below. And Josh, any last words for the people out there before we call it a day? We just wanted to test this new software, and it looks to be working great. Let us know what you guys think of the software too, so give us some feedback below.
Yeah, I mean, I would be open to making a short video course if people were interested in it. It takes some time, but if I get enough interested later on, I'd be happy to look into it.
Fantastic. So any last words for people in terms of advice, Josh, though, before we call it quits here?
In terms of advice, I would say that as far as suspensions go, and this is just a quick ninja value tip, I don't think you should be so cautious with your emails. We've seen some emails recently, some email sequences that are a bit aggressive compared to what we used to think in terms of Amazon terms of service, and they're not getting suspended. So if you get a suspension, I would say the first place you look should not be your email sequences.
Right, yeah, we'll probably cover email sequences in the next lesson. Let me know below if you guys actually want to see some email swipes that we recently picked up on. In fact, we picked up on one from a seller that has almost 10,000 product reviews on each of their product, and you would be stunned at the email swipe. I think it's going to literally, like, you guys are going to shit your pants is the best way I could put it. You're not going to believe what these guys are doing, yet they have 10,000 reviews. If you would like to see those email swipes on our next call here and us to hand those out to you guys, let us know. Put some input for us down here. In fact, everybody that gives a suggestion or says email swipes or you guys are a bunch of ass swipes or whatever you want to put down here, anybody that puts a comment down here, they're going to get those email swipes as long as they give us either email swipes or some suggestions for future videos and or comments about how they like the format, if they'd like to see another person on here. Let us know what you guys think and give us some suggestions below. And every single person that does that will get a copy of the email swipe from a person that has over 10,000 product feedback reviews on almost every single one of the products. You guys are going to shit your pants, I promise you. So leave us some feedback. Until next time, we will see you guys later, and get out there and get some stuff sold on Amazon. I will see you guys in the future video. Bye-bye.